Hi all and welcome to today's session. I'm just going to share my screen with you so you can see a little bit more about what we're going to be covering today. There we go. And let me know as soon as you can see the first slide.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So as you're probably all aware, this is a training session on a toolkit about how you can increase motivation and performance through setting goals in accordance with a theory presented by Edwin Locke. So my name's Judy. I will be taking the whole session today. It's approximately 30 minutes. We might run over by a couple of minutes, but I'm sure that's fine. I hope everyone's ready. I do understand that you're all newly appointed managers, and obviously given the current circumstances around COVID, your employee surveys have come back and have shown a slight decrease in employee motivation. So that's sort of why we're going to work with you today to sort of try and build your confidence within your own motivation and within your teams. So before I go any further, if you'd all like to just give me your name. I'm not sure if you work together or if you're in different departments, so it'll be really good to know who everyone is.
My name's Vivian Burnett and I work in the leasing department.
Hi, Vivian.
I'm Becky and I work in the same department as Viv.
Brilliant.
My name's Zoe Harriman and I work in learning and development.
Perfect. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. And just to get a few of the boring bits out of the way, we do have a few house rules. Obviously, we are all in our own homes, or I believe in offices due to the current COVID circumstances. If you do have any work calls that you really desperately do need to take today, I won't be offended, but please do mute yourself so that the rest of the participants, myself, can move on with the session. Anything missed, you will be given copies of the slides today and all the information from today's session, so you can go over the bits if you do miss. If you've all got some water, some refreshments with you, it is half an hour, so hopefully you won't need too much, but a glass of water is always recommended. Before we go any further, I know two of you are in the same team, but I don't like to call them icebreakers, but we're just going to go ahead and start off on a positive note, and we're all going to say what the best thing is that has happened to you today. It can be minuscule, like you've managed to read a chapter of your favourite book, or normally people would say they got a seat on the train, but I'm assuming nobody has had to take the train in a while. So the best thing that happened to me today is I actually managed to get up on the first ring of my alarm. I didn't have to hit snooze for once.
Mine's a cheeky one. I actually telephoned and got a delivery for dinner rather than making it.
Very nice.
Mine is also food related. I had some toasted tea cakes for breakfast. First of the tea cakes this year.
Looking forward to Easter.
Mine is that I met a really friendly cat on my way to the shop.
That is very sweet. That's also a tool that you can take back to your teams to sort of motivate people, because everyone sort of has that negative view sometimes, which we are human, nobody can be happy 100% of the time, but it's always good to kick things off on a positive note. So in the content, the harder content of the session, we've got two objectives that we're planning on meeting today. The first and foremost being to actually understand what Edwin Locke's goal setting theory is, and how the theory can be put into practice to provide the goal of increased motivation. This also would then lead to hopefully increased performance. The second half of the session is to then put the theory into action and be able to make the goals yourself in accordance with Locke's theory. Is everyone happy with that?
Yeah.
Brilliant. So just to get those brain cells working, to get into the course, the motivation aspect of it, how do you currently believe motivation and performance are linked? If you just shout out your answers, we can all, where there's only 3 of us, it's quite a small session, which is quite handy.
I think if someone's happy, they like their job, so they might work a bit better.
Yeah. I
brilliant.
think it's as simple as input equals output. If you're happy and you've got a bit of fire under you, then you want to do well, and you want to do good things.
Both really good answers there. Definitely, I think once we're motivated, then obviously that's going to trigger the performance in you, because you want to do well, you want to get the outcome that you want to achieve. And just for my own sake, because obviously we're working towards goals, do you currently set goals for yourself and your team? Do you do this together? Do you expect your team to do this on their own? Where are we standing on those?
I think I have goals in mind for myself. I suppose in some ways I encourage the team, but perhaps not so explicitly.
I organise a weekly team meeting where we discuss our goals, not big life goals, but just what we want to achieve that week. And I find it a very sort of grounding tool, and other people in the team have said the same thing. Just helps keep everybody on track and focused.
Brilliant.
I think I'm probably a little bit the opposite, actually. I set quite clear goals, I think, for my team, but I don't really do many for myself.
Okay, so obviously we're aware of what goals are. They're pretty useful tools. So today, hopefully we can hone in on those skills of how to get the best out of them and how to really set a good structured goal. So these are how we're going to meet today's objectives. We're going to look at the theory that Locke set out. You all should have your handouts for the session. Handout 1 is in regards to this. We're then going to link why his theory creates motivation. And to reflect on this, we're just going to have a few quick-fire questions. Please don't feel under pressure at any point. These quick-fire questions are just to sort of reiterate everything we've already gone over. We're going to look at some examples of goals that could be perceived as good or bad. We're going to judge them in regards to Locke's theory. And then we're going to give a go at setting some goals ourselves under the same precedent, so under Locke's theory, what he would classify as good goals. So, to begin with, Edwin Locke is a leader in his field of psychology, and he is best known for this goal-setting theory he created. Now, instead of me rambling on, because you've all had the handouts, which sort of sums up quite nicely what the theory is, we're going to just watch a quick 2-minute video that I think really puts the theory in, and it succincts it to what it should be, how Edwin Locke came to his theory and what the theory is. So I will just get that up for you. If you let me know when you can all see the video.
Yep.
Brilliant. And if any of you if you can't hear it or you can't see it, just raise your hand and I'll pause it and we'll figure that out.
Hi everyone, it's Yanis here, and in this video we will explore what is Locke's goal-setting theory. We will look at some of the examples and principles to establish how we can use it to our advantage. If this is your first time on this channel, then make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon to get updates on my latest videos about time management and productivity. Goal setting involves the development of an action plan designed to motivate and guide a person or group towards a goal. The Locke's goal-setting theory involves 5 principles that need to be followed in order to achieve your goals successfully. First is clarity. Making sure that your goal is clear and measurable will help you arrive at the desired destination. General goals most often don't get achieved. Second is challenge. Would you feel excited to complete an easy goal? Probably not. That's why you need to set challenging goals that make you grow and figure things out so you can really feel proud once you have achieved it. Third is commitment. You and your team must believe the goal and the fact that it can be achieved within a given time frame. If you don't believe that the goal can be achieved, then you will not put your 100% effort and most likely won't be able to achieve it. Fourth is feedback. When you're working towards the goal, it's important to have consistent feedback that will show you the progress that you and your team is making. Fifth is task complexity. Break down the goal into the projects and actionable so that every step of the project is visible. Think about realistic timescales for your goal and each project. Review your progress regularly to stay on track. If you follow these principles above, then you will be more likely to successfully achieve your goal.
Okay, I will just get up my screen and go back to the presentation. And if you can all let me know when the presentation's appeared back for you again.
Yeah.
So hopefully now we've got sort of a stronger understanding with the video, with the handout of Edwin Locke's theory. Do you all feel comfortable with his theory now?
Yeah, definitely.
Perfect. So now just a quick question and sort of how to link this with motivation is, especially with regards to his theory, how would you yourselves feel if you were set a goal in accordance with theory? How do you think that would motivate you? If you had a really strong, clear, challenging goal that you're committed to achieving, how do you think that would increase your motivation?
I think I kind of believe in the theory, but all the pointers that it said there, I think you kind of know what you've got to achieve. So then you know that you can probably achieve it. So that motivates you because, you know, if you want to get somewhere, if someone helps you by telling you what the goals are and what you need to do towards them, that's personally what motivates me to achieve it.
Yep, definitely. The sense of achievement that one goal has to then go on to create another goal and achieve that, definitely motivating. Any more feedback?
I think the one that stuck out to me was commitment. I think it's really important to commit to your goals, and in order to do that, it's good to have managers and staff committed to the same ones. I find that's really helpful for motivation because everybody's working towards a common goal. So that was the one that stuck out to me.
Brilliant. So there's loads of different ways that we can sort of become motivated through goals. Again, two really different answers. Personally for me, as I said, it's the sense of achievement you can get, and also the sense of purpose a goal gives, because if you don't have any directional purpose, it's sort of what's the point, why am I doing this? But actually, if there is an end to reach, it's motivating. So that sort of wraps up the first objective of Locke's theory and actually how it does increase motivation. So we're just going to have a quick summary. I think there's about 4 or 5 questions. I'll read the question first, and then if you just shout the answers. Again, no pressure. If you really can't remember or you're not too sure, not to worry. You get all of these in your handout so you can just review and reflect. The questions can range from anything from the handout, what we've seen in the video, and actually just your own opinions. So the first one being is, when was Edwin Locke's theory first devised?
It was in 1968.
Yep, that is correct.
I was going to say the same thing, Vivian.
Bit of competition here, I'm liking that. Okay, so for this one, maybe you can all do one and then fight for the last 2. What are the 5 principles for setting goals in accordance to Locke's theory?
They are clarity, challenge, commitment, feedback, complexity.
That was smoothly listed off there. Very well done.
I'm a good listener.
And true or false, according to Locke's theory, an easy goal is more motivating than a difficult but achievable one. Would we say that's true or false?
False.
It is indeed false. Haven't caught you out yet. And this one's less theoretical based. Name one way in which setting clear yet challenging goals could increase motivation and performance.
I suppose if you set a really clear, challenging goal, you could always give them a reward at the end of it that would also help motivate them. But it's still, you need to give them a clear goal so that they can achieve it as well.
Definitely. And in regards to direction and purpose, if you're setting out those clear but oh, am I going to reach this? You're aiming for something, which some people like that. They feel motivated through that challenge. We've all done incredibly. I can see that you're all paying attention to everything. So that sums up the first objective quite nicely. And now we're going to move on to the second part, which is actually let's set some goals. So again, there's some examples of goals here. And what you can all sort of do is, I don't know if you want to pick one, but we're sort of going to just look at these, discuss them and say, what's a good one and why? And again, this is in accordance with Locke's theory, and what could improve them. So if we take it in turns, you can sort of pick a goal and give your opinions on them. I don't know if you want to start, or I can randomly pick someone, or if somebody wants to volunteer.
I'll volunteer.
Becky, good to go.
I think the first one for me, improve sales, it's just a bit too general. I think what kind of sales I think I would need. Just thinking about the theory, a bit of clarity on that. For me, it's a bit too general.
100%. Could you give us an idea of what you think might improve it? Again, these are all made up goals that just using for examples. So what could make it a bit less vague for you?
I think maybe sort of as the third one there does, give a bit of a target, give some numbers, give a date maybe. Yeah, breaking it down a little bit.
Definitely. Zoe, would you like to go next?
Yeah, so from what I can see, I think the second one, by the end of May 2021 review, blah, 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 I think that's really good because it's really specific. It's got a time frame in mind, it's got actions, and it's got what goal they want to be achieved. So I think it's a really clear and positive framing that everybody will be able to play their role in, no matter what member of the team they are, what they do. So yeah, I think that's a good goal to set. In fact, a great goal.
And do you feel that the complexity level is okay with this goal in accordance to the theory, or do you think that would then depend on who was setting it and who it's for?
Yeah, no, I definitely do, because again, with the complexity theory, it said realistic timeframes and review. Obviously, it mentions review. That's a very realistic time frame. It's not saying, at the end of this week. It's giving people time to achieve this goal. So yeah, I think it's in line with theory. Yeah.
And last but by no means least, Viv, what's your thoughts on one of the goals here?
I think point 4, it starts off well, implement a new rota system, and it's telling you why, but like when, there's no, so if you're going to be motivated, it's like, really, you could put it at the bottom of your list. Even though I say I don't set goals myself, it's kind of like, I probably wouldn't be that committed to it, because it's like, they haven't told me when they want it by.
It's a really good point.
Yeah.
In regards to all these goals, do you think there's scope to give constructive feedback on all of these goals, or would you say that some more so than others? I know, Zoe, you mentioned feedback about your goal that you chose, the second one. Do you think there's scope in the other 3?
I think they'd be hard to give feedback on those, because there's no end or reason why. So I think point 2 that Zoe mentioned, there's so much you could give feedback on that, whereas the rest, they're too open-ended. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think the third one down, you could potentially have some feedback there, but that feels a little unrealistic to me, that third one. So
all really good points. So now we've looked at some examples. I know that you all are working with your teams. So for the next exercise, I would like us all to try to set a goal, and you can do it either for yourselves, because I know, Viv, you set them for your team but not yourself, or if you'd find it more beneficial to set one for a team member. Obviously, everything that happens in today's session is confidential. It's between us all, and obviously goals are a really positive thing that we do encourage people to share anyway. So if you can think about now, are you going to do a team member, or are you going to set one for yourself?
I'm going to set one for myself.
Okay.
I think I'll try. I'll have a go at doing one for my team.
Yeah, I think I'll set one for myself as well. I think it's good for managers to lead by example.
Definitely. Okay, so I'm going to start a little stop clock down here, and I'm going to give you 2 minutes just to really think, because I know you've got all your targets in your head, and I know that you know what your teams need to be doing and what you need to be doing. But we're going to try and make a goal out of those. So I've put the points up there of Locke's theory to sort of jog the memory a little bit. So I will stop talking now and leave you in peace for 2 minutes, and I will say hello again when the 2 minutes are up. Okay, about 30 seconds left. And again, it's your first go at a goal, so we can work on these together after. Okay, has everyone had enough time to draft a goal?
Yeah.
Ish.
Okay,
Work in progress.
we can work with that.
I've tried thinking about something we might do in our department.
So what we're going to do now is, if we have a brave volunteer, we are going to ask you to share your goal, and we're going to sort of see if we can help improve it, or say actually no, it meets all 5 criteria points. Because again, this is a skill. Goal setting is a skill that we can work on and develop, and sometimes it's really good to see it from another person's perspective, and you're all the same level, so it's something that you'll all be encouraged to do with your teams as well. So I think this will be really helpful. But does anyone feel comfortable sharing their goal?
I can.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Okay. I know this might make more sense to Becky because she works alongside of me, but Zoe as well. To sell 5 new leases, which is 2 more than previously sold in the next calendar month, in order to achieve an extra 5% bonus in your pay.
Brilliant. And Becky and Zoe, do we have any feedback for Viv on that?
Can you just repeat that again, please, Viv?
Okay. To sell 5 new leases, which is 2 more than the previous month, in the next calendar month, to achieve an extra 5% bonus in your salary.
Great incentive. I think that was really strong motivation. Money is obviously a great motivator. I think that's a really good goal. Yeah, and they'll be committed to it.
It's quite challenging.
Yeah,
to improve at that rate.
Brilliant. Have you thought about possibly how they would achieve that goal? Is there something you could put in the goal regarding the how? Potentially, again, it's not necessary. That might be enough to increase the motivation.
So would I put to sell 5 new leases through existing customers?
Precisely. Then you've just really honed in on that, made it really clear as to what the goal is and how they can get there. Because again, I'm external, sorry, to your company. I'm not sure if you have sales processes that you go through, or you have your client list, or you have a new sales strategy that can sort of divide it up again into a smaller goal. Because yes, it is a complex task, but let's make that a simple way of getting there. Does that make sense?
To use things that could help them.
Precisely.
Okay.
We do have time for one more goal. Do either Becky or Zoe want to share theirs at all? Yeah.
So mine was to increase customer service through increasing customer review scores within the next 3 months. I took that from the goal that you'd written. I thought May 2021 sounds like a nice, achievable time frame. And the way I thought we could achieve that is by creating a way for customers to give feedback on our website, rather than having to email us feedback like they usually do. There is a quick link dialog box, and that's the way they would be able to do that, and it makes them more likely, studies have shown it makes them more likely to do that. So I think that will increase our customer service, because we'll be getting more feedback and we'll be able to action those suggestions.
Any comments from Viv or Becky about Zoe's goal? I believe both the goals that I've heard today have been really good.
So Zoe, did you say yours is for yourself?
Yes, my personal service of my learning and development packs that I've written.
I guess I'm curious about the questions that you would ask the customers. I think for me, there's something there about what point is it? The clarity.
Well, I suppose I would say something along the lines of, how has this helped you learn and develop? Please give a 3-point feedback.
So I guess that could be part of a sort of smaller goal before setting the big one, is to actually sit down and plan your questions.
Bitten off more than I could chew. Yeah.
No, but again, this is why we run these sessions, and again, we hope that you can take that away. And actually, you've got something to, as long as we have the foundation to work with, it's then very easy to hone in on those and work out what points work and what points don't. So hopefully you can all take those goals back with you and start to implement them and actually get some motivation for yourself or for your team through them.
Yes.
So now we've come towards the end of the session, and I feel like you've all listened, you've all hopefully taken something away from the session. And I'd just like to sum it up by saying one point that you all can take back to your roles and use in the workplace of what you've taken from this session.
I think it's for me to be probably 2 things, if I can say that, to really be clear, to make sure we're clear, but also probably to set myself some targets first to understand them more.
They're really good points.
Yeah, I would agree with Vivian there. I think it's shown that if you start small with yourself, you can then expand personal goals into a larger realm, and I think that's really helpful, because then you see firsthand how they work and how they can be implemented.
Definitely. And Becky, yourself?
I think for me, it's the feedback, actually, that actually where's the opportunity, where's the capacity for feedback, because then you can actually reflect on the goals that you're setting. Yeah.
Well, that's brilliant to hear from all of you. I'm really glad that you've taken something from the session. I know it's not necessarily a long one, but I do understand that you're all very, very busy at work at the minute. just finishing off from myself, one to say thank you for attending. It has been a pleasure. We will be sending out some feedback forms via email, which will go directly to yourselves. These are confidential, and obviously any notes you have or improvements that you would like to see in another training session is greatly, greatly appreciated. And obviously any improvements on this one, if you would have liked some more information on a particular bit in the training session, it's always really handy to know, because obviously if we're going to keep coming back, we want to work with your organisation as much as possible. It's got a brilliant culture, very welcoming, which is what we love to see. But as I said, I appreciate that you're all really busy, so I will let you go now. But yeah, again, thank you, and I do hope you've enjoyed today's session.
Thank you. Thank you.
Brilliant.
It's really good.
Helpful. Thank you very much.
Thank you all so much. Have a good day.
Thank you.